All right, we got that. All right, we're going to jump off. Rap may jump on. Doug may jump off. So I'm gonna mute y'all and then play the intro music. You got the right one. Y'all all got the same email. Y'all can unmute yourselves. Sports Talk Live for the culture. How's it going, fellas?
What's happening, brothers?
How's it going, Duke?
Wonderful, man. It's a lovely day, man, outside. You see him outside doing the show?
Oh yeah, I gotta get outside and get some sunshine. Moving
Got to.
forward, Jonathan, you can unmute yourself.
All
There you
right,
go, brother.
Nate about to get on now. He need to update his phone.
Oh yeah, Nate's always. I'm gonna admit Nate now. He's just late to the show as we get it started.
Yeah, Nate trying to get in now.
How you doing, Jonathan?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just troubleshooting. You know what I mean? While I'm here trying to get everybody on. You know.
Back in the scenes, you need to do the behind the scenes work to get everybody connected on to the show. Sports Talk Live for the culture, your weekly show where we get into the hot topics of what's going on in sports and what's going on in the real world, because the two have blended immensely over the last few weeks. Moving forward, and keeping on that topic, something that kind of came out of the clear blue. We didn't see this coming. NASCAR joined into the Black Lives Matters movement, and NASCAR made a statement. It said the presence of the Confederate flag at NASCAR events runs contrary to our commitment to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for all fans, our competitors, and our industry. Bringing people together around the love of racing and the community that it creates is what makes our fans and sports special. The display of the Confederate flag will be prohibited from all NASCAR events and properties. What do you guys think about that? Moving forward.
Man, I would have never thought it would happen, first and foremost. Why? If you look at NASCAR and where it's kind of based out of, I mean, it's like we don't need to be involved with anything or listen to anybody because we got a machine of our own going, right? So why should I have to cater to whatever is happening anywhere, because it's not going to affect me anywhere? So I thought that was the attitude of NASCAR. And you look at the demographics. I mean, you talking about the South is like is everything as far as NASCAR is concerned. So I would have never saw it coming. If I would have bet, I would have lost. So it's I think it's big on their part, because when you do something like this, because like I said, it wouldn't have hurt their pockets if they would have decided they don't want to say anything, just because of their the dynamics of NASCAR is made up of primarily white people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this movement right here is a different type of energy. And I want to give kudos to the higher ups, I guess, in NASCAR, because like I said, they didn't have to do anything, but they did it. So give them a pat on the back for that.
Yeah, like NASCAR to me, like I don't care even if Colin Kaepernick gets to play this year. Like that still doesn't top this thing that NASCAR did, and that being the reason. If Colin Kaepernick gets to play and the good old boys boycott, we will pick up the slack. When these people leave NASCAR, we're not picking that slack up. They just took a hit. They're going to take a tremendous hit, like and they're not going to get nothing from it. Like we cannot name 4 drivers. We only can name the one driver from the other night that got the Black Lives Matter.
Bubba Wallace.
That's the only. We don't know at the Dale Earnhardt, at the Junior, at
Richard Petty.
We was done over that era. Yeah. We don't know nobody else. Like, so for them to make this move, like the hit they're going to take on their pockets. Now, it's a new generation. It's like the 4th generation or 3rd generation of the owners, so the family. So these kids is actually, they're the ones that change. These kids is a little different, I guess. And they're trying more to make it a global sport. They're taking it. They already been taking a hit because they've been moving it out. They've been moving it out, like spreading it apart, like trying to get it away from just the South. So I think this was really a move on if we can bring the blacks in, because they've been the things been around. Like it's not just been about the South no more in NASCAR the last couple of years, and they've been taking a hit as far as pricing on that because of that. Like you said, the South when it comes to this car. We're not going to spend $400, $700 on a Daytona 500 ticket to be in the nosebleeds. We don't do that. Like we going to the football game. So for them to do this, like I just think it was so much. It meant so much more because we're not doing it because we need y'all. We're doing it because it's just not right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's the right thing to do.
You're right. We're doing it because it's just not right. It's just not right. This innocent man was killed. Was murdered, not killed, not shot. He was murdered. Brutally murdered. Suffer. This innocent man, and for them to just stand up for that, and they don't need us for anything. Like we know basketball and football need us, so it's going to come a time they're going to have to bend. Like they're going to need us. But NASCAR, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's making a statement. I'm, being on ESPN and following, NASCAR and it's trying to growth, and it's all about the opportunity of growth, and a lot of things in corporate is about how can we expand them dollars, and they felt we may take a hit in the short run, but in the long run, it'll be viewed as a better sport, a better environment, better place to go and bring more people to, because you have drag racing that brings a lot of people in. You have speedways over there in New Jersey that people deal with.
Right.
And and they got the raceway in Dover Downs. So if you're trying to bring more people, a more diverse crowd there, that's the way to go. And everybody likes cars, and everybody likes fast cars.
Right, and that's the closest that we would get to going to a race is, watching the funny cars that lift up in the air when they pull off and they racing the fire come out the back. But that's more for the kids. That's for the kids' experience. But that's the closest we ever going to we get to go onto the track and watch some racing going on. Yeah, we don't sit there, and watch that. And
well, I think a lot of people. I think it's the biggest part was the party part aspect of it. I worked for Prime Star a while back, maybe like 20 plus years, and they did a promotion with NASCAR and everything like that. And a lot of it was just the party up to it, the party in the parking lots, the party in the stands, the drinking and everything like that. It's just that type of atmosphere. And I guess they wanted it to be a more inclusive atmosphere, because you probably, and we can keep it a bean, like if there's some place with a whole bunch of Confederate flags, we probably not going to pull over and stop and see what's going on.
Listen, if you want to play Russian roulette, the next race, we're a Black Lives Matter. The next race.
So definitely.
They go upset right now,
Oh, highly upset. That's why that's what I was saying. Like, and we can both agree, man. It's if they wouldn't have, did anything, their flow would have kept on rolling. But the fact that they did, and then they taking a flag down,
and then we wasn't even looking for you to do that.
Yeah.
Like we're not even looking.
They ain't thinking of taking that flag down. They don't play about that flag.
Exactly.
It was not to us. We wasn't even looking for you to take this flag down. We just that's just what y'all do. Like we're not telling the KKKs to take the sheets off. This is what they do.
Yeah.
We're not looking for that.
And we grew up watching Dukes of Hazzard. Really didn't know what it meant. Confederacy, whatever, in the 70s, the General Lee and everything like that. You get in behind it and what it means. You have the right to fly any flag you want, but anything tied to America, anything tied to anything like that. And they also, the services has barred that flag too. No longer flying that.
Hey man, it's a lot of education going on right now. If you want it, you can get educated real quick right now.
Yeah.
If you forever had your blinders on, you can get a smooth education right now. And I think for the most part, I'm seeing that now. Whether or not you listening, trying to get the education, that's a whole nother story. Or if you want to accept the education, that's a whole nother story, because let's be real. It's a lot of things that's been going on for a long time. The information was here, but were you listening to it and willing to make a change? No. But are you willing to change now? We'll see.
We'll see. Nate, how you feel about that, man? I see you over there in the car chilling.
He muted right now.
He muted.
Say what?
I said, how you feel about what's your whole thing about NASCAR and the pulling down of the
I agree with
stars?
everything they were saying. Like, for one, like for them to take like Jonathan was saying, like for them they ain't have to do it, and they still did it. You know what I'm saying? So that say a whole lot. Like they sport was going to keep going because they demographic of everybody that watch their sport. Like even the thing like black people don't watch NASCAR. Like like 2%. Like out of 100% of viewers, probably 2% black and even that. I'm being generous with saying 2%. Like you know what I'm saying? Like people, but now.
Yeah, and out of 2%, how many people
respect that they get that stand?
About how many people actually go to NASCAR? Not only like watch it, but go to. It's probably less than 2%. Then you think? Yeah, probably.
Listen, I'm watching it from now on.
Yeah.
and I know Nate gonna bet on it.
Yeah.
I'm buying.
I bet on everything.
Yeah,
I
Bubba Wallace.
Bet on racing, man. I got to look at it a little bit. There's two things I ain't betting on: racing and golf.
Oh, definitely moving on. I want to jump back in. We talked about last week the NFL. Roger Goodell reached a statement saying they were wrong, they were incorrect, and they should have listened to their players before. But he did not mention Kaepernick specifically. Do you think he should have mentioned Kaepernick specifically and given, when we're talking about an apology, or since he's not employed by the NFL right now, Kaepernick, he can go on. But I think, to me, your if you call it disrespect, your apology has to be as loud as the disrespect that went on. What do you think? Do you think Goodell should have named Kaepernick by name, or he's just trying to stay out of it and be halfway through?
I think that he should have. Is there a reason why? Yeah, I think they had, once they got into this court system thing where he was paid, and I think it was probably one of those things also that this man's name probably doesn't need to come up out of anybody's mouth if it comes to PR.
Yeah.
That could have been a play. And if that's the case, he gets a pass for that because he's not allowed to say his name. But we don't know the particulars. But if that wasn't the case, where he didn't have to be quiet and he did decided not to say his name, then he's wrong for that. Because what was it, 2016?
Yeah.
When everything jumped off, this man had peacefully protested. Peacefully. There wasn't any violence like we see now. There wasn't any looting. There wasn't anything, and it was calm. So he didn't do anything, and his supporters also were calm. The storm came from the people who did not want to see him kneel. So now the storm is coming from the other side, and now the NFL feels like they owe some type of apology, So it's all a mess, if you ask me.
Yeah. And they were kind of from, if you I don't know if everybody saw the commercial or the little ad that key NFL players did about the George Floyd incident, where I could be George Floyd, whatever. And that was all taken under by a worker for in PR, public relations. He did that all on himself. He contacted Thomas, he contacted all of them, and they put that together over the weekend. It was kind of not even an organized effort by the NFL, and it was a person that worked for him was just fed up with everything was going on, and they weren't saying anything, and it kind of backed them into position where they would have to comment now, because you got your star players doing these commercials, and NFL hadn't said anything, so they were kind of backed into a corner where they had to come out and make a statement of some type in dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement, the George Floyd case, And interesting enough, like the high percentage of the players in your league are African American. So it's an issue that you would think being a league in NFL where the vast majority of your employees are African American, on the field actually playing, and you would need to have some type of statement, and that's what they did. But I think it was kind of more of they were backed into a corner and they had to say something because of what was going on, and that's how I felt. I mean, how did you feel about that, Jonathan?
Yeah, I felt the same way. They should have said something, but they didn't. They should have said his name. They should have put it out there. But I felt as though they did at the same time. Like they didn't have to. Like we don't gotta.
We all know.
You know what was why that was said. And so especially everybody that's following football, everybody knows that he was talking about Calvin. We should have listened because no other players ever spoke until Calvin spoke. So we know what player that he's talking about. But hey man, just as long as you get it right one day. I mean, look, it's all right. You mess up. We that's the thing about us. We are more forgiving than anybody in the world. That's to our downfall, to our whatever. But just get it together. Like I'll give you a hug any day. Like just let me know you saw. You didn't understand. Like I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like we can hug it out, get a beer. You know what I mean? You didn't understand. You upset. Like lady was upset the other day. Me and a lady got into it. You upset. You're afraid to drive on the highway every day right now because you don't want your car being bashed from protesters until you come out and join them. Well, we're afraid to jog every day. Like go out and have a job. We're afraid to jog every day. So, and you're only afraid because of what's going on right now. It's going to continue for us every day, everyday living. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I left a party the other day, like 2 weeks ago. I didn't know a bottle was under my seat. I put it in the car, but I didn't know. I just found the bottle yesterday. Could you imagine me getting pulled over 3 days ago, sober, but got an open Henny bottle? Like, could you imagine that? Like, could you imagine how I'm gonna feel? My whole heart gonna drop. Like, oh my God! Like, he ain't gonna smell no Henny on my breath or nothing. But I gotta take a breathalyzer, walk test, read the ABCs backwards. What we can't do, sober. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got it, man. Come on, So it's just a difference, man. But if you get it right, we here for you. We here for the hug, to let us know, for the apology. We here for it. We ain't gonna be upset at you. We ain't gonna even be mad at you.
Hey, I'll keep saying time and time again. Right now, you can get a whole lot of education. It's all coming out. It's on TV. I don't want to say it's in the books because it's not in all of the books, but it's in some of the books, And it's that if you want to know, right? You can find out. You can find out from any one of us. You can find out from people on TV. You can find out from a whole lot of sources if you really want to get down to the root of what's going on. You know what I mean? And what happened in the past.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that we right now we're trying to. I think the education piece and trying to definitely bring everybody together and trying to learn something and move forward is the opportunity for that now, and that's what all this presents. And not trying to rehash or go back, but we move forward. We know where all the plans started, but now what we're going to get accomplished, this momentum that we have, how are you going to make tangible changes? And it's been a lot of talk about money being donated, but where's that money going, and where is that going to be able to be put forth to make some definite changes in situations and circumstances for people. And education's a piece, training's a piece, entrepreneurial opportunities is a key, and that's what everybody involved actually has to be in. The coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Zimmer, he said something along those lines. So look, I don't have all the answers. I don't know, but all I know, I'm for my players. I love them, and I'll fight for them any day. He came out and said that, and everybody has been speaking. But one of the interesting things I wanted to get into, talk and dealing like with the NCAA. There's a lot of big name coaches that I haven't heard anything from. Dabo Sweeney, the head coach of Alabama, um, Nick Saban, all these guys that are making generational wealth, and they coach a sport where everybody on the field is 75, almost 80% African American males. When they leave your school, your university, these are the things they have to deal with. Do you think they should even be obligated? We always talk whether you speak up or whatever. I don't think Dabo Sweeney, because he had things to say on the other end 4 years ago, but he really hasn't said anything now about it. But what do you think?
That boy on a little bit of fire right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on with that down there. But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, you're making generational wealth. It's an issue for a segment of society that is the largest segment of the players you recruit that are on your team that you're playing for, and they're going to be black men longer than they're going to be college D1 football players. Do you think there's something there that needs to be said? I mean,
Hey, well, let's put this out there, okay? So before we even get into the meat and potatoes of that, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with corporate guys. Let's put that out there, right? Yep. They're corporate, so we know how the corporate mind works, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about $1. They got a machine that's going, and they are worried about that machine. The question is, do you worry about the employees that keep your machine going? Me, I don't think that you are 100% worried about them. Now, are there coaches in top tier, in the NCAA, in the top tier divisions? Do some of them care? Yes. But a lot of them don't. Their thing is they got to keep this thing moving, right? And that's just where they are. Should they say something? Absolutely. If you look at, let's take Alabama, let's take Clemson, for instance, those two, because they seem to be the ones that are sitting at the top, right? If you look at their roster, you tell me what it's about, right? Both teams, right? The guys that you are recruiting are predominantly African American. Yeah. They are the reason why you keep getting wealthy year in and year out. That's a fact. Nobody can deny that, right? So is there a thank you, or is there something set up where if this football thing does not work, that you can come back and be able to get on with your life? To me, that means you really care, right? If I can't go pro and there's a job waiting for me just because I came through this program. And some of that does happen, right? I've heard some of the stories through some of my friends that played major Division I football or basketball. Some of the universities do take care of them, but we're talking about saying something. Because now, remember, and I said this last week, you get a chance, when things happen like this, you get a chance to find out, right? What side people are on. So when you don't say nothing at all, it's kind of like you fall into a side, you know? And I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, I think I would expect, somebody to say something, like to make a statement.
It's not time to be quiet.
The conferences have made a statement. You still want to go and play football, but some things are bigger than football.
And I think that's what's pushing these kids. A lot of kids talk about going to these black colleges.
Yeah, I
think that might be what's pushing them. Pushing them that way, that they talk about going to the black colleges instead of the big teams.
And everything can be broadcast now. So HBCUs can have their own channel. They can have your talent, and you're going to be seen. If you're good enough, to go, you're going to be seen. And if you play there and play well, and marginal people start to come as well too, they'll start to be seen. So it'll open the eyes, and especially in basketball, because basketball you're not going to be there a year or two anyway, at the most. Basketball you're going to be there half a season if you're a superstar player. That's the movement, where you're going. And it may be because a lot of people don't feel that they have gotten the backing, or they don't feel as they're just a commodity at these majority schools. They're just you're here to play basketball. You're here to play football. You're here to generational wealth. You play for $1 billion industry. We give you a quote unquote free education, but you have to play to get the education, so it's not technically free. So you have to come there and do something and make it happen. So I think that's maybe a sentiment. If you get a recruiting class, a Fab Five type class, and somebody else meets with them and goes somewhere else, and you start to see that drive to come back, because we already know that this generation are savvy. It's their parents are savvy. You see that they're have a lot of options open to them, even beyond basketball when you watch the NBA draft. So when you take a look at the future, I think there's a strong possibility you're going to see a migration back to some HBCUs. It takes a couple great players to go there and follow that and make a program.
Take a hit. Yeah, they're gonna take a hit. But even I think it should be a much easier for the basketball player, like you said. You're only one and done. I don't care who you're playing. If you normally against Duke, North Carolina, Louisville, if you average normally 20 on them, and you average about 40 at the back college, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're going to be seen. You know what I mean? And I think Brandon Jennings going overseas. That shows that you don't have to go there. Like, you go to these other schools, you go to these other things. And like you said, it's one and done. So you go there, you perform there, and then you go to the summer leagues and you perform in the summer leagues. And that's that. You know what I mean? Like you
no matter where you're good, if you can play, people are gonna follow. And you've done so much work in the AAU leading up to it, you really know, people really know who they have their eye on. Like who's gonna play.
Like last year. Like if that draft class could have went to an 8, that could have really set the tone. If Zion, Cam Reddish, and them would have went that way, and they all would have played on one team, that could have really changed the game. Like that could have really set things forward,
and make a deep run. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're going to be there. You're going to be there for a short time, so it's not like you're overexposed, like the coaching and stuff like that. And moving forward, so it's not okay. I was here 3 years with Mike Krzyzewski and milking his brain for knowledge, or 4 years, like MJ played for Dean Smith. You're going to be there a semester.
Yeah,
you're going to come in, start training, play that season, get your agent, and start to work on your skill sets. That's basically what you're going to do, especially from the basketball point of view.
Get some more.
And they already knew. I mean, the NBA has already started to pump up the G League because they knew the kids are, look, well, I want to go get paid now. Why I'm going to go generate this? But they may say, look, I may take my money and take the athletes, because we watched the scheme, and that was the whole thing behind the scheme. How much money and revenue these African American kids are worth in basketball and what they present. And they had a tremendous value, and he saw that, and that's what this has been all about. So now you take that and bring that to a historically black universities and reverse what happened. You'll be able to get some entrepreneurships and get some things going, and I think it all builds everything up. It builds up the ability of now people who are covering those games.
Absolutely.
The networks that you have there. All that together, it makes it.
And like you said, and parents are smarter. You know what I mean? Parents are much smarter than back then. This generation of parents is much smarter.
Savvy. They've gone to different school. Yeah, they've gone, to school. They've been in there and they look. We got talent, and what can we do to best maneuver this talent to make it to better it. So you got savvy.
I think what also is big is it is key for these players who they decide to go to the HBCUs. They want to stay close to the former or current NBA players, because we know how blackballing works. We just know how that goes, So I believe if you're able to keep footage which highlights are everything, right? Which HBCUs can do. You're able to stay in the loop with agents because that happens also. And these former NBA players and current players, if they're able to stay close with these guys who decide to go to HBCUs, I think they won't have a problem at all, because guess what? 30 is 30, 30 points is 30 points. If you want to go to HBCU and do it, or you want to go to the the major college schools. If you want to, the numbers are the numbers. I think it comes down to
once you're touted, once you're one of the kids that, if they could go right out of high school, would go anyway.
Right.
Zion, no matter where he goes, he was going in the draft.
Right.
That number one.
The number one. If he played a year at Howard, if he played a year, it doesn't really matter. He's still going to go number one.
Yeah. And I think it's clearly about that bag in their first year, because guess what? Coaches are, they'll pay that bag for that 1 year and hoping that they win a national championship.
Yeah.
Like, we all knew Zion wasn't playing 2-3 years or 4. We knew that. But he went to Duke for 1 year, and we're not going to get into the logistics because we know what goes on, right?
Yeah.
And if it was worth $100,000 or $200,000 or wherever it was for him to be there, it was worth it because you weren't in the mix of keeping your university on, a great level, and you had a chance to win a national championship. And we know what, you start getting into the Sweet 16 and the Final Four, we know what kind of bag that comes with that, right?
Oh, definitely. And just the sneaker deal from that.
Right.
You maintain, keep your sneaker deal. It'll be tremendous. You go, hey, we want to put you in your shoe. And that's all the residual monies that come there. You're coaching now, and all of a sudden we're like, look, we want your players to wear Nike. And you're HBCU, and, Zion goes there, Nike's there, and Nike goes, okay, we're going to pay the coach so much, but everybody gets Nikes. The lacrosse team, the women's basketball team, the wrestling team, the football team, everybody got Nikes now. Like Nike's jersey,
Just like that.
And just like that, doing well, I'll rock a Zion Howard jersey, like university. If you have a Grambling, you know what I mean? If you got a Grambling jersey with the best player coming out, if LeBron with the Grambling, you're going to rock a Grambling LeBron.
Pretty much.
You're going to rock it,
And the thing about it is, like you were saying, like Duke was saying about the blackballing, it's actually harder because they're not tied together. The NCAA and the NBA is not tied together. If it would have, they thought they were going to blackball Brandon Jennings. Like, they didn't even let him come. He didn't even get to go to New York for the draft. But he ended up still being drafted, I think, in the top 10. I think he got drafted 7th or 6th or something.
Yeah.
But he still got drafted low. Like, they thought he was going to get drafted. They thought he was going to get drafted so later.
Yeah.
But
when you're talented, I don't care who you say. Oh, he didn't use the usual agents and he didn't go to the usual school. I'm trying to be employed here for the Nets. We drafted him. Like, it's not, crazy. Like,
and you got LaMelo this year, he gonna be top 2.
Keep LeVar away, man.
LaMelo the one, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I think
he is.
LaMelo gonna be a whole problem in the league.
I agree with that, Nate. I agree with that. We got some shout-outs.
Shout them out.
You got Mr. Tim Moore, Ellis Roberts, Thomas Bird, PRT, M. Raleigh, Relena Jennings,
hey, Relena,
Whitefield, my junior college national championship teammate. What's up, brother? Monique Gooden, cousin David Harper.
What's up, Carl?
Art Wells Jr., Michael Iron Mike Starks,
Maryland University.
Irv Henderson, Mr. Greg Barr, Camden High, class of 92, brother. What's up? Thanks for joining. And that's about it. Thanks for joining, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, thanks for doing it and tuning in Sports Talk Live for the culture. But I think it'll be interesting to see, especially from a basketball point of view and moving forward, how this shakes out for your one and done athletes and how they're progressing and moving forward with the ability of open opportunities and coming back to historically black universities where a lot of talent was back in the day before everything became TV deals and $1 billion. I think with all the dedication and the way people, especially African Americans, rep their HBCUs in their schools, you have a great viewing audience to be able to see and watch. Advertisers are definitely being at, no doubt. I mean, the Bayou Classic.
Absolutely.
The Bayou Classic football game they play every year. So Battle of the Bands, the whole 9 yards. So I think there is an opportunity for that to come and play. And definitely with all the channels, we need more programming. Definitely with all the channels, Sports Talk Live for the culture. We need to be on cable. Definitely.
Television stations, man, they are, they're thirsty for content. They're in the game too. They're trying to find the next best thing too,
Yeah, definitely. I want to jump in real quick. I want to jump to Major League Baseball. I think my man Rap Curry may jump in. We're waiting for him because I want to dive into high school sports are restarting. Major League Baseball. Okay, the owners made another attempt. The owners, on June 12th, the owners made another offer. The owners have another proposal to the players given to Sunday night deadline for the players to respond. It is once again very likely to be a non-starter for players. The owners have offered 72-game season with the players getting 70% of their prorated salaries and 80% if the postseason is able to be completed. The players continue to press forward for full prorated salaries while the owners continue to try and only pay the players for roughly 50 games, regardless of how many games are actually played. What do you guys think? Do you think the players are going to be like, nah?
Hey, man, because listen, I always thought that you get paid per game is what I thought.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, at the end of the day, every year, the owners walk off in the plus regardless of what happens and regardless of where their team is. So now I think the shoe is on the player's foot. So I think that they're trying to walk off with the same opportunity that the owners have all the time. Regardless of what happens, we want to come out in the plus side. Yeah. That's what I think that is. I think this is the side of the business that the players own. They have the leverage. If they say they don't want to play, then what you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean that's gonna. You have no games. I don't know how the TV revenue works because a lot of times they get paid up front, and the TV contracts are a done deal. The owners have that money in their pocket. I don't know if they have to reimburse or what they have to do, but you would hope that they'll be able to work something out because people believe they won't. If they don't work anything out, it'll just be a big stain on baseball, and baseball is not. As popular as it has been. It's not like the America's pastime like it's always been. It's football is the juggernaut. Moving forward, and those are the things that they can't deal with a labor stoppage after a pandemic with 44 million people unemployed and trying to come back and everybody trying to deal in. That would be very, very a bad look for baseball, but. I don't see the players caving. The players are like, we want full prorated, not 70% of the prorated, 80% or 50% of the prorated. And I think the owners, in order to generate some revenue or any kind of revenue or any kind of seats or tickets or whatever, they're going to give all that money back, all the concessions back. They're going to have zero concessions, zero ticket sales, zero. I think as the players feel that they have the opportunity. Not to budge because what do you want to do? How much? It's almost how much do you want to lose? Moving forward. What do you think, Jonathan?
Like you said, baseball is the pastime, but I think like a lot of sports is going to realize that they control things more than the owners. You know, I think that this is what was going to set the tone for multiple sports. Like we really control this thing, you know, and if we get together, you know, and I think that's more of like more to. There got to be more people that don't need the money, you know, got to speak and move forward. You know, it's going to be hard for the, like you said before, like football guys struggling to stay on practice squad. You know, he's not speaking up. We're not looking for him to kneel. We're not looking for him to do that. You know, but certain people we are. We are looking for you to do something. So I think with that being said, I think the more people with more money is going to start realizing like we can really control this. You know, we can really set the tone and say what we going to do and what we not going to do instead of just accepting it what they want to do. You know, and I think that I don't think they're going to come to an agreement. I don't think they're going to come to an agreement. I think that the players are going to want too much. Like you said, they're losing so much concession stands and all this other money that normally pay the players. So now it's like, oh, like we got y'all playing, you know, and okay, a couple people maybe why we go to the TV money with that's all we're getting.
Well, usually the TV money is the biggest deal anyway. Like
it's the most money, right? But normally the TV money goes in our pocket. You know, we able to pay y'all with just the concession stand and the tickets,
licensing and things like that.
Right. So I don't think they're gonna come up with. I don't think so, but.
I mean, the owners can just get look. The owners can say, "Look, we'll give you this, and we'll have a season." You know.
Well, it's definitely gonna be another counter offer. Yeah, it's gonna be a counter offer.
So that's part. That's the problem. We'll give you this. What's that?
That's what I'm saying. They gonna realize that that's not gonna fly. Like we'll give you those words will never not gonna fly no more. It's not what you give me. It's what I'm getting.
Yeah.
You know,
and what I'm worth. And what I'm worth.
Right. So those words are not gonna fly no more.
Right.
You need players to have a baseball season. I mean,
that's it. Ain't no way around it.
You need great players. People are not going to, flock, not to see talent, but that's going to be the key moving forward. Who's going to budge? And the players are like, hey, I mean, the baseball players been getting a lot of money. So I mean.
Right.
Bryce Harper is a guaranteed contract. He's getting $250, $265 million, $300 million deal. Moving forward. So him missing this money this year, I don't think it's going to kill him. So nope. So
nobody's going to get killed.
Yeah, everybody. It's not people are going without these guys. It's millionaires versus billionaires. So that's basically where the game is being played. And the players think if you want a season, well, you need players to have a season. I don't think nobody else is going to come up and try to, you're not going to get scabs like before and play. Nobody's going to, do that. Young players coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how they move forward and what direction they move into in the future with Major League Baseball. Well, they have to midnight to. They had the Sunday tomorrow to see exactly what they're going to do, but I don't think anything is going to jump off for those negotiations. I don't think the players are going to.
I don't think so either. But if it does jump off, it's going to be in favor of the players.
Yeah, I think unless they're going to talk 95 to 90% of prorated money,
right?
Unless they're talking that, and it's guaranteed. Even if they want to play 50%. Regardless how many games played, I don't think any bargaining unit will take that. The players union that's negotiating on the side of players just aren't going to agree to that, and that's where we're going to be, moving forward. The National Basketball Association, we touched a little bit like this last week. They're ready to start. They're ready to jump off. The NBA season's tentatively set for July 31st, 2019. They're going to start practicing. 22 teams will be let in. They're going to go from there. What's your guys feeling? They're going to test stringent. They're all going to be in one location. Do you think this can be pulled off with, COVID-19? What's going on definitely, I think the interest will be there because people are starved for sports. But how do you think it plays? With no people in the arena, no people in the stands.
I well, first and foremost, I look at what's going on in our country now, and I don't like. I would not like for the NBA to play right now, for this simple fact. There's some momentum going on right now in our country with what we've seen with the injustices and equality and all that stuff. So once sports starts to happen, the attention is going to shift to that.
It's going to take the focus off.
Going to take the focus off, and I think things are going to get lost.
Well, Kyrie Irving's, he had a phone conference talked about that. Maybe they shouldn't play the season. What was going on in what's going on in the country? Maybe they need to lay back and focus in on how to improve relations. And
yes, because people are going to go right back to their normal thing, and you need to. And a lot of people is going to get let off the hook, right? Like right now, we're wondering why Jerry Jones is not speaking. Mm-hmm. We're wondering why we don't hear from Nick Saban. We're wondering why we don't hear from all these guys. Well, if you start sporting events, they're going to get slid right under, and nobody's going to ever hear from them, and everybody's going to get back to, the old normal. That's one. Two, I'm looking at it like, they want to play the season from July till August?
Yeah. And
so then you start the season back up when?
In December, they talk
October?
about. They talk about December. They're going to play through maybe the October, and then they're going to start the season back in maybe January, December.
Yeah, they said that the next 3 years is going to be, we're going to have like summer basketball, like the next 3 years.
So now, I got a problem with you playing this month right here, or 2 months, and then you stopping and then jumping back, starting again, in terms of television. Then the summertime, are you really going to get the viewers in the summertime like you? Because people do traveling and they do.
Well, the thing about it is now they won't have to go against football. They're only going to go against baseball. And we know baseball and basketball. We already know what that's
right.
Yeah.
So you'll be taken away from the little bit of audience that baseball has.
Yes.
I shouldn't say a little bit because there's some people that are still into it. But compared
to the other sports,
the NBA, are they going to take away from the baseball viewers?
Yes.
So that's a problem. It's a problem economically for baseball.
But here's the thing. Baseball is regional. Baseball sports are regional cable network sports because the Toronto Blue Jays versus the Seattle Mariners on a regular channel, a national channel, is not drawing that. It's not L.A. Lakers versus the L.A. Clippers, okay? So baseball is a regional broadcast sport where you follow your team regionally. It's almost to the point where hockey is. You have Flyers fans, but how many Flyer fans tune in on a Wednesday night to see the Montreal Canadiens, play the LA Kings? They're not. I got to check that out. Basketball and football are still national draws. Football's on. College or pro, who's playing, you're gonna tune in.
Is your team or not?
Yeah, you're gonna play regardless of your team or not. Baseball has become a regional sports network sport where you follow the Phillies and who the Phillies playing tonight. There may be some star player that you want to see, or maybe a pitcher, but not even that so much. Sunday night baseball, things along those lines, aren't drawing what Sunday night football draws or NBA basketball. So I think there's two types of marketing there. I think the NBA can have that national draw, those national games. We're going to follow the Sixers hard, and as a Sixers fan, but I definitely want to see Zion, go up against the Greek Freak, too on a Thursday night or something
Absolutely.
along those lines. So it's kind of a two different marketing tiers and draw. I believe baseball would love to get to the point back where they are nationally a national sport, as they have the draw with talent and stars that can bring an audience, Thursday night baseball or something like that we want to see. But right now, the numbers are just not in their favor. And, moving forward, and I don't see it. I don't see it changing right away.
Longest pitching is your biggest asset. It ain't
Yeah.
gonna happen, man. Who really wants to watch a no hitter if it's not your team?
Yeah, that's true.
If it's not your team, who really wants to sit there and watch a no hitter? You happy if it's your team, but who wants to sit there and watch that? Nah, I need this ball to go off that fence. I need somebody to grab that ball that's almost out the fence, climb up the ball and grab that joint, almost break his wrist. I need the ball to dive, and on a pop up, he got to dive to go grab his joint, his whole chest messed up. You need those plays all the time. You can't have. So I don't know if you got to change the rules up of pitching. You got to get that ball down the plate. I don't know. What can you do to? The home runs is what's going to bring when we was watching baseball because some stuff was going on, but the balls was going out of that building, man.
Long Park Summer.
McGuire,
as they say,
Sosa,
chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah, McGuire, Sosa, Bonds, Griffey. Them balls was going out of that park, a lot. And once that stops happening, what am I watching for? It's not worth nothing. You know what I mean? So that's just the thing. As long as they got to figure out a way to get them balls out, because nobody's gonna watch a no hitter that's not their team. Nobody wants to watch that. Just strike, pop up, catch, strike.
Hey, Mr. Rat.
Right.
What's up, brother?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
How's it going, Mr. Curry? How you doing, man?
Out here in the hustle today. You know what I'm saying?
Good. Good timing, because when we wanted to get back, we wanted to talk high school sports, and I also wanted to get your take on. We had a long conversation of the profitability with the movement and everything going right now, that your star basketball players dipping back into the HBCUs, and what that could mean. As far as revenue streams, as far as the next LeBron wearing playing for Howard with a Howard jersey with a Nike swoosh on it, or Under Armour or whatever as you go, how that will play out. But I just want to touch base. In Pennsylvania, Rap Curry is athletic director of William Penn School District. Also, St. Joe's alumni. Was highly recruited basketball player in his day, back in the day, definitly. So some restrictions have been released.
On that. I don't believe it.
All you gotta do is ask the brothers down Chester. It's a short list, and I'm on it. Right? It's a short list.
You know what I mean?
So they've opened things back up. They're talking. So as an athletic director, can you just talk about the challenges that you face and what things to look at as we kind of come out of COVID?
I got me moving through the street, so excuse the noise in the background.
Oh, no problem.
Listen,
Move for the culture.
I'm gonna tell y'all first and foremost that I'm probably one of the few members of my generation and before that. I'm trying to think who else. Maybe my other cousin that played basketball. But we're probably the only ones that didn't go to a HBCU. Right? My mom is the first college grad in our family, and almost all of our family had done that up until that point in time. And so our foundation is historically Black college universities. And truthfully, while I'm definitely in revolutionary mode, but I have had some friends from St. Joe's that have been with me all my life. But I would definitely tell you, I can't see there being a better experience in the historically Black college campus. We just need to be taught about certain things that are important to our community. And while I'm, I'm a believer that all communities have, I gained information and relationships there that have helped me. Part of what has me out here today on this property hustle. But really, in essence, I think that if we can focus our athletes, which is about generating money, right? Because America's about the money. We say whatever we want. They came here and was looking for land so that they could build their revenue streams. So if we start sending our kids there, that's going to force the scholarship money in the television money to go there. And if we start forcing television money and not scholarship, but sneaker money to black colleges, we'll have a whole different perspective on how we'll see historically black colleges. It's just things that we have lost through the segregation pipeline. We've lost some things in it, right? We've gained some things in it, but we've lost some things. So I'm all for that. I've talked about that a lot, so you've heard me talk about that. I think that we need to send our kids back there and reboot those programs.
Definitely. How's it going with the high school sports and trying to get things kick-started as restrictions have dropped, and as athletic director, practices and scheduling? How you going moving forward with that?
It's crazy, really. One of the things, sports is planned out so far in advance.
Yeah.
So there's things that we're trying to happen. We're trying to fix that didn't happen, like physicals.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing that one up because it's, you got to be able to get the kids to play. And for us, we've had a lot of physicals at our school. And we work with Fitzgerald Mercy to do a cardiac screening. And so we've missed some of that. So now we're trying to get those things back. But we're also trying to fix the off-season program right now. What does off-season look like for the district? How do we, we're talking about individual training, which is right down our alley. But how are we going to really fix, like, we can't really do competitions and 7-on-7s and things like that the way in which we normally would do, right? And kids always want competition. So we're trying to figure out, what does it look like? What is the school going to accept? What is the state going to accept? And then the risk of, like, further breakouts, right? When you start competing at those close levels, the kids are going, we're vulnerable, right, in sports world. So we're trying to figure out how we handle things if there is a breakout, if there is some drama. Do we shut everything down? Do we shut a program down? And obviously it's more responsibilities for the coaches, more responsibilities for me. So we're just we're coming up with a full blueprint. And so I have a rough draft of it. I'll be submitting to the district, but I'm going to meet with the other schools in our league, and we're going to try to have a similar blueprint to give to all of our schools, saying this is what we thought would be best as a collective body than just Rap Curry's vision.
Rap, how much direction are you getting from the state level? Or they're just trying to say, hey, we kind of restricted, we've lessened the restrictions, and the model is up to you guys locally to come up with? Are you getting a lot of hard guidelines or just recommendations, or how's that working out?
There are some guidelines, like they're telling us, like let's take football, like the most kids you can have in a workout are 25.
Okay.
That affects football. So it's, some schools are doing like by classes. And our situation is, we'll have freshmen start sometimes. So we're trying to figure out how we do that. Is it different if we have a group of kids in the weight room and while there's another group that's outside in the field? So there is some restrictions on what they want us to do. Even all the way down to like the water bottles. Like, you can't give out team water anymore. Everybody's got their own bottles. It's crazy. Right? So
I thought they stopped that a long time ago anyway. Like,
yeah, bro. Oh man, we got water coolers up there with ice and cups.
Man, I tell you, playing football and being a rookie on the team, by the time you got to the water as a sophomore, that water was brown and green, had grass in it, but you were so thirsty, you still drunk it anyway. Like,
had to go down.
Like, you know what I mean? But I tend to believe the water and stuff is more cleaner, and these kids today drinking Evian and stuff like that, whatever. But nah.
Oh, well, at Penwood we don't have Evian level, but we definitely have a better process.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? got a better process than we did in our days. In
Oh.
our days, it was just show up and play.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, though, Sunni. Like, you know, you got some kids that you got to talk to not practice, right? You want kids that you was gonna practice regardless.
Yeah.
But then there's other kids that are like, oh, I got a little cold, I can't practice. But anybody that's feeling ill is out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't take any chances. So,
are you taking temperatures? Are you guys taking temperatures?
That is the plan that we're going to do, is do a temperature screening for every workout. And then if you don't make a certain temperature, or if you feel sick, or if you display any
symptoms,
signs of COVID, we got to send you home.
That's all I'm about to say. So when you say ill, that list is like, you know, this long for ill.
You're right. Too much coughing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
too much scratching.
Because you don't want to be the school that you don't want a parent or somebody to come back and say you didn't have the proper process.
Right.
So that's the part that I'm trying to figure out. You know, I serve a dual level. I'm trying to keep it real as a coach, because I know what it's like to be in the gym and want kids out there. But I'm also trying to find out from the district how far they're willing to go.
Hey, these kids are going to escape a lot of things in this playing era right here, buddy. Woo.
It's going to be different. It's going to be different. It won't be the same again.
Do you think it will ever go back to where it was? I think these precautions that you're putting in, and these steps that you're putting in, aside from the 25-man, you know, playing at a time, 25, but it seems like these things will be like permanently instituted. The way you handle water, the way you handle sanitation, the way you handle bottles, who drinks and stuff. These seems like these are things it'll be on from now on. This is how we move forward in athletics.
Definitely. I don't think the world will go back to the same. But just like you said, we can't just let like we're talking about actually having a lock on the ice machine.
Okay.
Just so people don't freely go in
and
there
put their
and
hand
for themselves.
Yeah.
Put that dirty hand inside the ice machine.
There you go.
Wow.
40 people on the same scooper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's just a new world that we're trying to figure out, and how to use the weight room and clean it efficiently, and let alone, you know, Sunni, we were in a meeting where we were talking about how schools are going to be split up, and every student won't be, they'll be working, they might be at home, and then how do we get them to school? How do we feed them before practice?
Yeah.
And how do we get them home afterwards? Right?
Oh boy.
And then you're busing, and like you're busing. You can't throw as many kids on one bus as you could before, as when we try to bring them in and take them out. You know, there's CDC recommendations on busing, so it's going to be an arduous task trying to get these seasons and things started. But the benefits of sports and the benefit of camaraderie and you know, coming together and getting a goal, I mean, it's well worth it. But it's going to be interesting to see how you play out and how different schools. Do you think you'll take a hit in participation, Rat?
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And I was actually going to give you another level of it, but first from us, I think we're going to take a hit in participation. I just don't think everybody's going to get the physicals in time.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a primary part for us, because how many doctors are seeing people?
Exactly.
They're starting to see people. How many people? Like, it's going to be a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Right.
There's definitely going to be
on a 4-week waiting list, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my primary is not July. He thought June, and now July. He moved back to July. So you know, I'm waiting to still get that year.
Think about on like a charter school level, right? So, you know, we have our own buses, even though we outsource, but we have our own district buses.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, football team usually takes 2 buses. You might have to travel a football team on 3-4 buses. Who's going to be able to afford that?
Yeah.
You know, so there is going to be some changes that haven't popped up. And whatever happens between now and, you know, August 1st are going to affect what we do in September. So we'll see.
And the other part is, you know, how now that when you were trying to get your team together, I know you guys do study halls. I know you know things along those lines, tutoring. All those are affected because now you can't have the same as many kids in a room or anything to get tutoring, to go over those things. So it's going to affect every aspect of athletics, not just on the playing field, not just on the practice, but you come in, and and you can talk to this rap. It further exacerbates the equity gap, in athletics. The schools that have the resources. We can put as many buses out as we want. We'll get new water bottles every game. It doesn't really, every day,
Right.
we can do tutoring, whatever. Everybody has a device, just being able to do those things. So it's going to make it even more difficult for schools like Penwood, who are financially challenged, as we say, to provide and keep athletics going and to compete on those levels. Take a lot of effort.
That's a huge part to it, Sunni. Like, that's one of my biggest things in this whole overall situation is the equity gaps that we have, and really, education, through the services we provide in education, and then also through how they judge real estate based off the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Education is a big gap for us, and it is going to be difficult. Now there's a certain part of it is that we're already in the grind. I'm not sure how much of a grind, but will we be able to access the same way? The answer is no. We will not be able to access the same way. We just have to come up with as the best plan we can. But really, the question becomes down to, on an equity level, is why do we have schools that are in the grind that we're in, right? So we look down the street and Springfield's building a new school, new fields, new lights, and we played them week one. Like, we don't have lights, we don't have facilities for the kids to change in. We just don't have the place to put things. We don't even have the place to put equipment because we have to place equipment in a different space. So, how much more can we accept? How much more can our kids accept? And really, in essence, how much longer are we going to accept the inequity, right? The same inequity that we're having with Black men, with police officers, is the same inequity we're having in school.
And education equity leads to the situations where you get more and more involvement with the police. So,
yes.
And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what are you going to emphasize? What are you going to strengthen moving forward? And athletics has always, they have power. They police athletic league for that reason, because of what sports does and sports, able to do and able to keep kids in the right directions and moving forward. Even though at the time we all think we're going pro at 12 years old, we're not. But if you don't bring home A's and B's, you're not seeing the field or whatever you need to do, and that all helps us down the line. Failure and coming back from failure helps you down the line. All those things, and the athletic piece is a key part of any extracurricular activity on top of your education. It's really a thing that can really focus you and help you out down the line. Everything that you're trying to do and trying to get accomplished in life, you can take those lessons from sports and athletics and apply them. And it's a shame that it all comes down, not that the kids don't want to be involved, not that you don't have the people that want to help kids and people that want to coach and people want to facilitate, but it comes down to finances and
money.
And you can just see it within a $1.50 Uber ride down the street. It's a whole different world, and it's just insane. So that's something that definitely has to be done.
It's actually a shame, for all the major players, but for the kids, for the most part, because we all played, we all know what we learned from being involved in sports, and it's things that you can't take back because they help you move throughout life. And a lot of these kids are going to miss out on that, from even just being around the teammates, from being pushed to the point where you were about to give up. All of that stuff, it helps be competing, winning and losing. It all helps mold the man that you are. You know what I mean? A lot of them are going to miss out on that stuff, but just because of what we're going through now,
Yeah.
Definitely. And I wanted to say to that, we have a young man, who's going to Columbia for track, right? The history behind that is we've known the coach since he was at LaSalle. So he took a kid from Penwood, probably, I would say like the early 2010, 11 or whatever. He took 2 kids to LaSalle. And then since now he's moved to Columbia, he's taken 2 kids to Columbia. And the reality that you can come from our neighborhoods and get to institutions like that, and I'm saying like that, these are institutions that we would all be proud of if our kids got
To the
into.
Columbia, yeah.
We're not even talking about just, but we're looking at that they're going there and their school is pretty much paid for, and we're not talking about the tier 1. I'm going to the Olympics type of athlete. We're talking about really solid, good Division I student athletes. And when finances closes those doors, because it's relationship, we can talk about all this stuff. People are willing to work when they have a relationship. He's comfortable with the way we train our kids, kids we raise. He can put them in their program, and that's a great thing for us. But if we can't provide it, then we close the door on generations of changing families. We're not even talking about one kid. We're talking about changing the whole family structure when you get somebody who can attend a school like those and get those opportunities. So,
and the people and it's just not going to the school, it's the people you meet when you go to school. Like the relationships you start at Columbia, it's the relationships you start at Harvard. You run into Zuckerberg while you're up there. You hang out with him one night. Yo, Zuck, remember I had that idea? I know you're doing the Facebook thing. Remember?
I got you. Come on in.
I got this one right here. I'm telling you, this is gonna be big. Let me holler at you. So that's the whole point. You go and make relationships, and those relationships, as they develop, as people mature, you get connections. That's just naturally how things work out. As you get older, you find out it's amazing how many people I ran into went to Millersville. Especially, hey, I went to Millersville 5 years after you, maybe 3 years before you, 15 years after you. But hey, you still, that's an in to get in and to talk and discuss or have an opportunity. And it's a shame that the opportunities are cut off not by ability, it's not it's cut off by you don't have the aptitude. It's cut off merely because of the finances and the social economic faults of the system that we put in education in America, that we lose out on kids that have potential and opportunity to go there and do certain things, and that's a shame, and that's what we got to push, from that aspect, that we have to have. I saw a great T-shirt, set tripping on the system. So we need to set trip on this system in order to change the way things are financed, to change the way education is financed, and which will give more opportunities, not just to athletes, but to all kids, and that's the thing. But you get to keep kids and keep kids interested through athletics, and that's one of the things. My dad was an academic till they started studying birds in the 6th grade. He wasn't really something about studying birds. 6th grade, bang, turned on, and ended up graduating from Cheney. Just studying birds, just like he could tell you what every bird was, whatever in the neighborhood, whatever, something about that. That's what put him on, and he went on. He was academic after that, and went to Cheney University and moved on. But that's something that definitely I'm hoping. One of the things and when we're talking about money, we're talking about generations, that we're talking about this movement now, is that we look at educational financing, and maybe one of the things from COVID is one of those things they're looking at. Hopefully they can look like these schools are disparity. Like if we have to go out, we have whole kids that really have nothing to do. They don't have internet, they don't have devices, they don't. But what else don't they have when we come back to school? That should be the question. The question should be asked, not what we couldn't do when we had to do COVID, but what still can't we do now that we're back in school? And what can we do in order to, help alleviate some of those issues that
they one thing that we do is in this country is we compare our test scores, but for some reason you don't dump the money into the education, you know?
Yes.
So it's like, why you want to compare this country over here when that's what they do? They continuously just dump money into education so they get these results. You want the results, but you're not dumping the money in. Like, that doesn't even add up. Those two don't even add up. You know?
They don't.
Hey, once upon a time, when a kid came to school, that was the safe haven. You know what I mean? For a lot of things, for education, for meals, for mentorship. So for, you know, it was a lot. And I think they've gotten away from that because of funding, man.
Yeah, I mean, and back in the day, you got to remember the tax.
But they can find the money if something happened to somebody for some reason.
Nah, back in the day, tax rate was 50%, 70% on the highest incomes. So it was a lot of money, a lot of building of things back then, from neighborhoods to schools to finances. And it's not like that now. Nobody wants to come up off that cash. So it's
Our stuff is though, bro. Like, for instance, I can remember meeting an athlete and stuff like that, but I never looked at an athlete as my hero. Right? The heroes in my neighborhood were the people that were working jobs, teachers. They were the leaders in our neighborhood. Like, I remember people telling me, because my grandfather died when I was young, but like, if there was something that happened with the police would come see my grandfather and ask them to bring, because the family and them meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have lost the value. And don't get me wrong, we need celebrity money because that's the only money we have, right? And we need their point of view, but their life is privileged too. And really, in essence, what we're doing right now, having this conversation amongst men like us, and you know what we're doing out in our communities, like it's the platform that people can mostly attach to and build off of, right? We're holding down families, we're holding down communities. You know, I tell people all the time, like, I love sports, but ain't no sports going on in my house. Me and my son don't watch sports. Me and my daughters don't watch. Like I can barely, like, you know, God chased me down the other day. Was like, yo, I saw you play LaSalle. My kids was like, oh, maybe we should watch that game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not a feeder in my house, and it's not because I wouldn't want it to be a little bit more. It's just not what we do, because we're really just, you know, they're in a different space, and I'm supporting that space, right? But sports definitely would allow me to get there to support it. You know what I mean?
And that's the whole aspect with me. Look, Rep, they had me take piano lessons, but I still wanted to be the township tailback. You know what I mean? Like whatever. But sports was the thing that for us, that's what we had. That's what we played. Like, you know, like that's what we did in the neighborhood. That was it. It wasn't like a whole lot of other things. So if you're gonna play basketball, you're gonna play football. And we may have a little bit of baseball, but that weaned out. You know, we used to play pickup baseball, but it's going to be basketball or football. That's what you're doing. That's what you're playing, and that's what we dominated in. But the other opportunities as you move up socioeconomic, you get other opportunities in school. You get schools that have different programs that'll pique your interest. Like, oh, okay, well maybe I can do this, like whatever. Because I got a lot of friends that are in various different things that, you know. It was about playing basketball for Southern, you know, and Philly and all like that, because that's when we grew up. That was the thing to do. That was the outlet. You know, you had those, but now you get into these other schools. You have a whole plethora of things that you can get involved and get into. That's what we need to. We need to, you know, to push kids in different directions and see what sparks them. But once again, that comes down to financially being able to provide those outlets, and some people have the finances to be able to suit that outlet. And that's one of the things when we've been talking about this money and donating and changing educational, how they finance educational should be a number one on the platform. Education, trying to upgrade education for everybody should be number one on the platform, and being able to give the ability to learn and have various things at different schools at different levels. I mean, that's got to be like a top priority. You know, just even on me on the financing of, you know, networking. You know, that's the grant. The reason we got internet that we build and all that, it's a grant. You know, But the next level is, why doesn't everybody have a device? you know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, what difference does it make if you all connected up, and now you need
Right.
to have that in the home? Like, you know,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's the next thing that you need to that we need to definitely take a look at and moving forward. And I think it'll be interesting to see. But we definitely put the gas got to stay, the foot got to stay on the gas pedal. You know, there was an interesting
Can't let up
conversation.
now, man.
Yeah,
Can't let up. We had a time right now where the momentum. You know how it is. The momentum is going one way. You gotta keep it going.
yeah. There was some talk
Yeah.
rap about not playing the NBA season just to keep the gas on the pedal about things that are talked. Kyrie had brought that up. I don't know if that's going to happen, but they're talking about, well, let's just wait the next year and let's focus in on what's been going on. I don't know if that's actually going to happen because we all know what runs the marathon. So, so, and
Kyrie's at the top of that food chain too, so he can take a little break. But I mean, to some degree, we definitely have to we just have to become more aware. And I think that even though that Kyrie is a different type of guy, like he's definitely trying to put his brain on things.
Yeah.
And we need them to be able to think about what's happening.
yeah.
And sometimes the platform, helps us, right? Entertainment platform helps in trauma. It's kind of like football after 9/11. Like we definitely need some of that. I think the issue becomes how do we bridge? Like right now, I think this is where I think this time is going to change. This is a chance for us to bridge communities.
Yeah.
And the sports community, because of the savviness of money that's out here, your average kid is a little bit smarter than when AI came out, right?
Yeah.
So there is a point now that we have to have conversation about what does a family look like? What are we trying to do? What are we trying to do at home? I think we're just so caught up, and our kids are caught up in how much money these guys are making. But when you watch, I can't think of my LeBron's guy who's on HBO as a show.
Rich Paul, Maverick Carter.
Maverick, yes. He had a lot of the young guys on there talking about what they do with their money, how they're not spending their paychecks right now until they get to another one. They're living off of their endorsements.
Yeah.
Like, there's a different world in which these guys are handling business because we had all these faults before.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now, how can we structure these things around sports? So when Sunni was talking, I'm thinking about a lot of the job, like being in a position of air quotes leadership in a black school district, right? We use grants. I use grants to get the streaming equipment, and then it's kind of like, okay, well, what's the next thing? And it's hard when you're by yourself, but this is our push, right? So until they kick me out of Penwood or to whatever, we're gonna have sports. Now, how we gonna do it? You know what I mean? It's gonna adjust based on what I can do. But we're gonna compete in this game to the best of our ability. But the goal is that the people that are leaders have to make sure that we're just educating more than just, it's more than just sports. It's more than just winning. It has to be the cause and effect of why I'm doing it for me and why I'm doing it for the community, but why I'm doing it for the black community.
Yeah, and I think when you come, and I think the next step, as how guys manage their money and we start schools, I think the next step is jobs. I mean, the next step is there got to be a collective movement on carpentry, a collective movement on plumbing, electricians, schools, whatever. And there's a whole lot of neighborhoods where they can service those needs. Like Jonathan just replaced a circuit breaker for me. It only cost me like a Hidden River 6-pack, so we was good. but having those skill sets, so it's so having those skills and having those skill sets and being able to bring them to the community, that's when you start seeing a difference maker. Jobs, opportunity. You go there, you have jobs, you generate revenue, you get justice. As long as you don't have the revenue, it's hard to get justice. The difference between, I think, who said this? The difference between have and have not is not wealth, it's justice. It's hard to get justice as a have not, and that's the main thing moving forward. And that's what I definitely would like to see as the next step as we progress. coming down. And I think a lot of things, a lot of things we've been through, as we speak and have this conversation all the time. But just keep moving forward. That's all, that's all you can do. Have these conversations, have these brainstorming ideas, and keep moving forward. And if we keep moving forward, we'll be all right. A lot of people had a lot. And I was talking about, if you look at us right now, everybody here is African American. Somebody up the chain had to be exceptional. It's just 100 years ago, it's just hard to survive, period. But trying to survive,
it's hard today.
It's hard today. Trying to survive and be African American in this piece, they was exceptional. They had to be, definitely doing that. But fellas,
our great grandparents were slaves.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're not that far away from what this used to be, which is why I think so many people are struggling with the fight right now.
Yeah. I mean, look, hey, I'm born 1 day after. I'm born 1 year after King was assassinated. You know what I mean? Like, like King assassinated in 1968. I'm born summer '69. I'm born.
Yeah.
There's just, hey, that's not that long ago. The fight's the fight. But fellas, always great conversation. Sports Talk Live for the culture. We talk about sports, but we also talk about the culture. Definitely want to get that involved. And we'll be back next week. Jonathan, I want to talk to you next week because they set a fight up. The heavyweights. The two big heavyweights are going to fight. They're going to, your man is stepping to the side and going to let Joshua and the Gypsy get it on. There's a lot of big money on there. So I got to talk to you about that. Definitely who you think, who you like moving forward. But fellas, thanks for joining in. Rap, thanks as always with the insight. Definitely, good luck. I'm down with Penwood except for a couple games each year.
We don't hold that between us, bro. And, keep doing your thing, man. We gotta keep having these conversations, and your squad does it. I'm glad to be a part of it. Appreciate it, Jonathan. I appreciate y'all. So let's keep having the conversation.
Well, definitely.
All right, right. And
we'll be back next week. Sports Talk Live for the culture, and we out. Everybody go enjoy this weather. Yo, Jonathan.
Too. Peace and love.
You gonna sip or not? Yeah. I might come up the way.
Let me.
I got two events I gotta go to.
All right, no problem.
I want to hit the phone right now, so just give me that call.
All right.
I have ground, so if I'm at one of them, I have them out.
All right.
All right.
All right.